me, remind me of Ice-T. By the way, we share the same birthday. The wordplay is work, but is easy. So catch me, I'm ballin'. I'm sick too if you ain't catch me like coughing. Back when I said you should catch me like Spalding. It's cool, cause most cats that I bump into can't catch me that often. Most times I just end up falling. Ball for a few, then end up walking. Catch me in the ball with a Cinderella waltzing. And I do it till it's no longer exclusive. Might go once, might go twice, but never 3 times like an auction to it. See, I walk into it.
Hello and welcome to the Deits and Stevens All Out Sports Show. Hi, I'm Robert Dieters with my co-host.
Hey guys, my name is Steven Hughes. I'm the host of Stevens All Out Baseball Show and Stevens Weekly Hoops. And I'm once again honored to be next to my friend and my partner in crime, Robert Dieters, and doing another decent Stevens All Out Sports Show. And we're going to be starting out with a little bit of football to start our show. Also, we're going to have some baseball. Especially, we're going to give you some updates on the status of A's pitcher Brandon McCarthy, and we're going to also talk a little bit of football, which we're going to be starting right now. And Robert, so the first thing we'll be talking a little bit about is the last night's game between the Bears and the Packers. How'd you think of it?
I thought that, the Bears kind of had a chance to get back in it. Jay Cutler didn't have his greatest stuff. Brandon Marshall, I was really disappointed in you, man. That you were supposed to catch that touchdown pass. Man, you're on my fantasy team too. I was disappointed. I'm sorry, I gotta say that because you could have had a touchdown for me.
Yeah, that was a very disappointing game by the Bears. I think that they could have done a lot more than expected. I think that the Packers. They did not do well also, but they got their opportunities to score, and they got their chance, and they did the job pretty much. And it was unfortunate that the Bears had the same amount of opportunities that the Packers had, but they didn't get the opportunity done. Plus, Jay Cutler did not do very well. And I forgot to mention, we have a special guest, the NFL analyst for National Sports, Nick Rice, the host of the NFL Goal Line with Nick and Phil. And here he is, Nick Rice. Welcome to the Deits and Stevens All Out Sports Show.
Thanks for having me, guys. And of course, I'm always excited to be a part of this show. And you guys really had a great product so far.
I want to do a recap of the Packers and the Bears game. And what did you think of that game? I know Brandon Marshall missed that touchdown pass. What do you think of that?
Well, overall, the Bears offense just was not the offense that I saw in Week 1. I saw a completely different Chicago team outside of the defensive side in Week 1 for a team that was dominant on the special team side of the football and also finally had that elite wide receiver. Cutler to Marshall is one of the most underrated receiver quarterback tandems in the league. It's interesting how both the special teams giving up that, most notably that fake field goal touchdown, and then of course on offense, just 4 interceptions by Cutler is not going to get it done any day, especially against a team like the Packers. Certainly a tremendous turnaround for the Packers, and now both teams are 1-1, but after this game, obviously headed in opposite direction.
Matt Forte got hurt in that game as well. Do you know what the status is on Matt Forte right now?
I wish I could bring it to you guys. I wasn't all over this game like I have been in week number 1. Haven't really got a chance to get over this game, but Matt Forte is one of those guys, whether he comes back this week or not, he's one of those running backs that with any football team, let alone Chicago, this team really needs Matt Forte to be in the starting lineup. Now, of course, with the passing game as bad as it was in week number 2 against the Packers, I feel like if Matt Forte is not healthy, Chicago, after week 1 being so high on the Bears, look out, Chicago. This is some bad football that you just played. You need to turn around, Chicago.
Hey, Nick and Steven again. I have a question about how Jay Cutler did. Obviously, he did not have a very good night. I think this will be a night that he will really forget in his thoughts. I think he had less than 100 yards and 4 pickoffs. Just a terrible night. Do you think this has made him a lesser quarterback, especially on the road and especially in a tough place like Lambeau Field? do you think that, as if you were the head coach of a ball club and you needed a guy to go into the NFC Championship game and play on the road, do you think that Jay Cutler will be your guy?
Boy, it just seems like for Chicago, they always seem to have some sort of a quarterback dilemma, and they thought they finally got a big-name guy in Jay Cutler. I mean, after Rex Grossman was out of town, and then they got a guy, an ex-Denver Bronco that really did good in his stint with the Denver squad, and now he's over in Chicago, and he was supposed to resurrect this offense. Now, last year, it was obvious when he's out of the lineup, the Chicago Bears are a worse team. So, in a way, it's kind of hard to put everything on this quarterback because of just how untalented the rest of the squad is. Outside of Forte and then Brandon Marshall, obviously, you don't have a top 5 pick at any of your offensive line positions. The Bears don't even have a tight end anymore. Olsen, of course, is now out of town. And then you don't have, outside of Brandon Marshall, an elite receiver. Now, Alshon Jeffrey, the rookie, mind you, is the number 2 and is coming along as of late. But, obviously, can't put everything on Jay Cutler. And in the NFL, it seems like we put so much emphasis on one game. Just 4 days ago, Brandon Marshall and Jay Cutler were on fire, and they completely dismantled in week number 1. To come back and get the divisional game, you have to know. Jay Cutler was primed and ready for this game. It's just possibly one of those off nights for him, but of course, you can't that divisional foe. It's interesting how he really stank it up against the Packers. So, obviously, in the NFC Championship, to go back to your question, obviously there's at least 5 other quarterbacks I'll take over Jay Cutler, but he's one of those solid guys that can provide a spark with your football team. He was obviously missed last season. So I would take him because there are other NFC quarterbacks. I'm not naming anything in the NFC West. We have 3 quarterbacks there that haven't really proven anything. But obviously, Jay Cutler, I would take him more than half of the NFC quarterbacks.
All right, Nick. So we're going to go to another topic now. We're going to be going to Dallas, where the Cowboys owner Jerry Jones has informed the quarterback of the Cowboys, Tony Romo, that the team has interest in signing him to a long-term extension, and that can be taking place very soon. Nick, is this going to be a good thing for the Cowboys or a bad thing? Do you think that if the Cowboys get if they sign him to an extension, will he make a bigger impact for the Cowboys, maybe even a Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this new. Now Tony Romo finally has that shoulder off his back. He beat the Giants. Sure, it was at home, but to avenge a divisional loss late in the year last year. It seems like Tony Romo. All these years of him being a quote-unquote unable to perform in the playoffs type of quarterback and not a postseason quarterback, just a regular season QB. He has the highest passer rating in the regular season, so this guy can certainly throw it up and have some big-time yards. And with all the flux at wide receiver, this is a positive thing for the Cowboys. Mind you that Des Bryant and Miles Austin, more off-the-field distractions than play on the field. He put that to rest, and he also made a guy by the name of Kevin Ogletree. He made him into a superstar against the Giants. Now, Ogletree is one of those guys that can provide the big play when need be. But, even in the preseason, when he played against my San Diego Chargers, he was lights out. And I've just seen this guy grow up and mature, and obviously I've seen things go backwards for Des Bryant. So, Tony Romo has really gathered the troops and led this ball club to what was a big win in Week 1, and certainly Dallas looks to be for the hot seat in winning that division. So for the Dallas Cowboys, this is perhaps the best thing you can do. So to take away all of your distractions of, Tony Romo, can he do it? He's on a short-term contract, mind you, as well. So now you sign him to a long-term deal, get that out of the way, and now it's just time for Romo to do what he does, and then possibly one more chance at trying to get that postseason run. And the Dallas Cowboys are most talented to do it. They are probably the most talented team in the NFC East there. So they have the talent and the firepower to do it. It's just about how can Tony Romo put all the pieces together, and he certainly did it in Week 1.
Now, how many years do you think Tony Romo has in this NFL?
Tony Romo, I mean, believe it or not, I mean, he's one of those guys that has been scrutinized for so many postseason failures, but he isn't even the age of 30, partner. I mean, for so many quarterbacks, I mean, let's just go with Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees. They're playing their best football right now, and they're over the age of 30. Tom Brady is still a tremendous quarterback. You saw Peyton Manning on Sunday night just shred up the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's almost the age of 40. And Brett Favre was way into his 40s before he, called it quits. So for NFL quarterbacks, perhaps the one position where you don't even see your best football until you're over the age of 30. So for Tony Romo, we haven't probably even seen his prime. This might be his prime year to make an impact on his team. And don't rule out the Dallas Cowboys for being the NFC favorite to, make it to the Super Bowl, because with Green Bay and their loss to San Francisco, I mean, believe it or not, still the Niners, they do have a fortified quarterback, but the Dallas Cowboys did they did actually beat the Niners last year in their home stadium. Don't rule out the Cowboys to being one of those upset teams that really makes them hay in the postseason.
All right, Nick, we're going to go to one last topic. We're going to be going to the Cowboys' rival in the NFC East. We're going to be going to the Philadelphia Eagles, where they have listed Deshaun Jackson and Jeremy Maclin for questionable for the Sunday game against the Baltimore Ravens. Nick, is this going to be a big deal for the Eagles if one or even both of both Jackson and Maclin are out of this game?
Well, we saw before last year, it wasn't due to injury, but Deshaun Jackson was out for the final game for the Philadelphia Eagles season, and obviously the offense was not the same. No matter how little production Deshaun Jackson makes on the field, I mean, his on-the-field impact perhaps is overlooked because of just how little he has proved vital. He's proved vital for this team, but, I mean, he hasn't made the catches anymore. I mean, he was back in 2010, he was the key for the Eagles, and obviously he had over 1,000 yards receiving. He is one of those guys that could be listed in the top 5 receivers in the league, and now he's not even in that top 10, top 20 discussion, but he does throw the top off the defense and does perhaps move that safety over. And then Jeremy Maclin, another one of those guys, speed burners, can just rip it down the field. So these guys will certainly be missed, especially because you don't have anything outside of perhaps a one as any sort of a receiving threat over there in Philadelphia. And even including Michael Vick in his subpar performance, and I include subpar, 4 interceptions, not getting it done, especially against the Browns. I'm really scratching my head on just how the Eagles will perhaps be able to win this game or even be in this game against the Ravens. Right now for Philadelphia, for such a talented squad, things are looking really gloomy for this team and for the city, including Penn State, who isn't playing the best football right now. This city right now is football teams have both got to get their head straight, including for Michael Vick. And it will be a tough road, especially without Maclin and Deshaun Jackson.
Now, what do you think of Michael Vick? I know not having a great game against the Cleveland Browns and still getting a win by 1 point, 17-16. Do you think Michael Vick can make a change against the Baltimore Ravens? I know Baltimore has a really good defense.
Yeah, Baltimore has a tremendous defense, but Robert, I don't see Michael Vick having any sort of an on-the-field impact. I mean, Michael Vick's just one of those inconsistent guys that I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles have put too much money and too much hope into this guy, and they even let go of Kevin Cobb because they knew that Michael Vick would be the guy moving forward. I mean, mind you not, Kevin Cobb actually was replaced. I mean, he did replace Michael Vick at some point before he is off to Arizona. So now for Philadelphia, they put all of their money onto this guy that obviously ever since his off-the-field distractions after Atlanta, he's just not been the same quarterback. Now, he had